I'd like to welcome you to WCPT AM's Out Chicago. Think of us as Sunday brunch with your gay best friends. Now, please welcome your host, Ellen Miller.
And welcome to Out Chicago. Scott's on a well-deserved vacation. I'm sitting in the host seat today. And with me is a very special co-host. It is the radio news veteran and my co-host in real life as well, the one and only Kathy Voltmer.
Good morning, Ellen.
Good morning.
It's so exciting to be here.
I love having you by my side for our once-a-year host duties. Scott is on vacation in Mexico. It's so well deserved. I'm so happy that he has the opportunity to get away, and I'm happy that I have the opportunity to sit with you here in the studio.
Seems like once a year he goes on vacation, which isn't enough, Scott. You got to start taking more vacations.
He will as he ages. Like like a fine wine. I have realized that vacations need to be happening on a regular basis. So
but the last time I was here was in April of last year.
Yeah.
So, and I listen every week. I'm your biggest fan.
She is very loyal. No, I love it because sometimes when we're stuck on something, Kathy will text in with the answer. She's our producer from afar. She's our fact finder.
You can take the girl out of radio, but you can't take radio out of the girl.
And we love that. And we're looking forward to a great show today where we will be speaking with Wesley Taylor from Goodman Theater's latest hit, Holiday.
He was so funny in that.
My gosh.
I cannot wait to talk to him.
I can't either. I'm so happy we have him today. And then Second City's Kat McDonald.
Speaking of funny.
Yes, she's newly named main stage performer and longtime friend of Out Chicago. Will be joining us in the second hour along with State Senator Sarah Feigenholtz, who's running for re-election in Chicago's 6th District, which is where we live. You can find us on Facebook Live on the WCPT and Out Chicago Facebook pages. HeartlandSignal.com, YouTube, TuneIn. We're kind of pretty much everywhere. But really what we really want to emphasize today is you can call us. That's right. You can call on the telephone at 773-763-9278. And please do give us a call. We'd love to talk to you.
Old school, baby. Call us.
Yeah, we want some calls.
Call us.
So here we are. Kathy Voltmer, longtime radio veteran, as I said, 30 years in radio broadcast journalism.
Something like 8 radio stations I work for. The longest and last full-time gig I did was at The Drive in the mornings. I'm so thankful I don't get up at 3 o'clock in the morning anymore.
So am I.
But it is fun once in a while to come back and dip your toe back in the water. By the way, I just got a text from Scott. He said, I do need more vacation.
Yes, you do. Only because we love you.
Yes.
You know, I don't need to sit in this host seat, but I'm happy to do it, Scott, for you to have the ability and opportunity to get the heck out of town once in a while. Look, we already have a call.
You and I did something. We'll get to the call.
We'll get to the call a little later. Hang in.
This morning that I do not think we have ever done.
What is that? What's that?
Ever done.
What did I do this morning?
We were singing the national anthem in the car on the way to the show.
We were. In these days where we are not feeling as patriotic for obvious reasons as we maybe have in the past or would like to be, the U.S., spoiler alert, but everybody's going to hear about it because it's big news. Spoiler alert if you don't want to hear it. The U.S. hockey team just won gold right before we got in the car to come here to the show.
So we were listening to the audio in the car on the way to the show, and when they presented the medals and did the whole ceremony, we started singing the national anthem.
Both of us, just like unprompted. And a friend of mine texted me this morning and said he was rooting for Canada. I'm rooting for Canada always because I love Canada. But I have to tell you, when it comes to something like this, the pride of the Olympics, the pride of gold, the pride of our hardworking, athletes, I was for USA all the way. And when they won, I got teary-eyed.
We really did. There were so many great stories. It was just such great hockey to watch and such wonderful athleticism. It was joining us here is our often board op and sports cubicle host.
Call screener.
And he does it all here. So Paul's here, and he's the sports dude, the resident sports dude. So we wanted to talk to him about his impressions. And were you singing the national anthem?
I was, walking in here, people in the neighborhood probably thought I was a crazy person because I was like probably about a block away when it started. And like as the song kind of peaked, I was walking into the building and everyone was hanging out in this studio. And then there were some people in the other studio and they see me in the control room just happy and tears in my eyes, just, proud of the moment. I never thought, this is the first time in my lifetime that I've seen the U.S. men's hockey team win a gold medal.
It's been 40-some years.
Oh, yeah, you're too young.
I mean, I was born slightly after that Olympics, but I have no recollection of the miracle on ice. And I grew up knowing how big that moment was and years of seeing U.S. men's hockey get close or just get beaten up right away. And it stung in 2010 when Canada...
Was that Sidney?
Sidney Crosby. And like back then, Patrick Kane is on USA, Duncan Keith and Jonathan Toews are on Canada.
Yeah,
the Hawks were really good, but it's like that stung seeing... Because I thought they were going to do it that year, and I think in Salt Lake City, it was the same thing where Canada beat the U.S. on our home soil. So having those two teams, Russia's out of it this time.
Yes.
So you knew there was a chance. NHL players are playing, and U.S. looked good throughout the whole tournament, but so did Canada. So you knew that was going to be like, these are the two teams that should match up with each other.
Yes.
And so on paper, it looked great. And I think, they beat up on each other in the Four Nations face-off, which was like the all-star tournament kind of leading up to this about a year ago. So it really ended up being such a great game. But then on the heels, too, of, I don't know if you saw the women's USA versus Canada. That game was amazing, too. The Hillary Knight tying it up late, and then was it Megan Keller gets the game-winning goal. And that was, both games were exciting. I don't even know which one I would say was the more exciting of the two. They were equally amazing hockey games. And USA sweeps the goal.
Which is what you want. I mean, and a lot of these players on Canada and U.S., they're teammates. They're playing against their teammates.
Yeah.
On Wednesday, when they all are back on the ice here in the U.S. and in Canada, they'll be together on the same team, and a lot of emotion. And one of the emotional things, and Paul, I'm sure aware of this. Hockey player Johnny Gaudreau, who was killed on his bicycle with his brother in 2024. When I really started losing it and started crying today was his wife and two very small kids were in the audience, and the players, I'm going to cry again talking about it, brought the little kids down on the ice to take the picture with them.
Oh, I didn't see that, but I saw the parents in the crowd, and I saw them skating with the jersey.
Yeah, they skated with the jersey, and then they brought the two little ones, who must have been infants when he passed away, because they're very young. They only look to be about 2 years old. Wow. And that moment was, between the jersey that they were, carrying around after they won. It's so sad. A young hockey player that was a big loss, I believe, is from Philadelphia.
Yeah, the Philadelia area.
Yeah.
He was in town for his sister's wedding, too.
Yeah, I just get sad thinking about it. So, it's easy to root against the United States right now with what's going on, but when it really gets down to it, you hear that national anthem, you see the hard-fought victory. It shows that we still care, and we still are Americans, and we still are patriotic.
Mad about it all.
He's not going to steal my joy.
They're stealing patriotism, right?
Yeah.
The right stealing patriotism, the right stealing religion, the right stealing all these things that, and it's not exclusively owned by the right. And you see a moment like this, an emotional moment like this, and your patriotism comes out and you realize, darn it, they don't have the right to do that. We're all Americans. And anyway, it was such a moving moment. We wanted to bring you in for that. And think about just singing the national anthem. When's the last time you just...
Unironically, a long time ago.
I know. We all have the same... just unprompted. We just were in the car singing it at the top of our lungs on the way here.
I don't really sing it at a baseball game. When,
I don't either.
Remove your hats. So, all right, I'm sitting.
Yeah, I've been almost sitting most of it lately.
Maybe overanalyze the singer sometimes.
Yeah, right.
It was so great. And, hockey's become kind of gay. I hate to,
So because of heated rivalry.
Heated rivalry. We've got heated rivalry.
That's why they won, I think, because of heated rivalry.
Exactly. And then so many women athletes are gay,
Yeah.
I think that, what did I read? There were 9 out LGBTQ plus players on
between the Canadian
and the women's U.S. hockey teams. Yeah. So I just love that, because we can tie it into our show and we can justify talking about it.
I could be wrong about this fact, but didn't Hillary Knight get engaged?
Yes.
Yeah, and then her fiance is also an Olympian.
Yes, she's a skater, speed skater. That she got down on one knee in the Olympic Village. They met in the Olympics few years ago, and she felt it was apropos that that she engaged her and proposed to her in the Olympics.
Yeah, what a milestone.
Yeah, think about it. Can you imagine even 10, 15 years ago? I mean, they weren't out.
On the night before the gold medal game, like tactically, is that something like you really want to do to somebody where it's like, they're already going for a big moment and then you're like kind of co-opting it with like the relationship, or do you wait until the result of that game? And what if they lost?
I think that's probably why she did it.
When I had heard that, I was like, wow, really? The night before the gold medal game? Like, was this planned?
Right. I think that it showed how confident she was, and she probably didn't want to mar it if they did lose. So while we're still on a high and we're going for the gold, let's do it. So, yeah, very exciting.
So many other storylines with the Olympics. We may get back to it later if we have time. But really, the Winter Olympics built on a trend of increasing inclusion. There were some 40 out athletes across all the sports in the Games. It's very exciting to see that, especially nationally, as we see our rights rolled back across the country, to see globally we're being embraced.
Yes.
And we're in the spotlight. So, yay.
Hope, folks. Little glimmers of hope. That's what we're talking about.
Amen, sister.
So, speaking of hope, Stephen Colbert, let's switch gears a little bit.
This really isn't switching gears.
Okay.
But go.
Yeah. On Monday night, Stephen Colbert had interviewed James Tallarico, who won, who very tightly, he won by like 14 points or something. The
Texas State Representative. Running for U.S. Senate.
In a very, where Trump just killed in the last election.
Right.
In that district. And he had him scheduled as his guest, and he actually interviewed him, but was told later by CBS Brass that he could not air the interview.
Right.
And
they made up some excuse about it being equal time, blah blah blah,
which is thinly veiled. We know what that is. That is the FCC chair, and Trump leaning on him because they don't want this guy who's on the rise to get any more publicity and eyes on him. But to me, it totally backfired because who knows how many people would have seen it on the actual show. But once it was announced that it's only going to be on YouTube, there were over 3 million last we heard. Is probably higher than that right now.
Oh, I think it's more than that.
Probably at least up to 4 million people watched this interview, which we both watched the other day. And first of all, how scary is it that they do not want someone with, a Democrat who is a rising star probably in the Democratic Party to have a voice? It's just... It reeks of censorship, and it's horrible.
It's super scary. I just used the Google machine.
Yeah.
85 million.
Are you kidding?
No, I'm not kidding. Maybe you looked at it very early on.
I did.
It's 85 million. Here's why I say we're not really switching gears, because just a few minutes ago, I said, how dare they take away our patriotism?
Yes.
How dare they take away our religion? How dare they try to do this? Well, he is turning things on their ear,
especially in the Christian department.
Faith-driven, progressive, amen to that, and the pun's intended. His background's very unique. He's a former public school teacher. He's a Presbyterian seminarian, so super religious guy, but he's relatable, and he's religious, and he is speaking to Republicans, even if they don't necessarily agree with his entire political platform. He's speaking to them in a language that they can understand. He's young, he's articulate, he's great with social media. Maybe this is the way we beat them. Mm-hmm. I'm a little nervous sometimes when I hear people talking so religiously.
Right.
But I do think he's speaking their language.
I think he is too. He is talking about, his father and his grandfather. He's got a long history of religious people. I think his grandfather was a minister in his family, and he talked about the two things: to respect God and respect your neighbor. Yeah. Just basic tenets of Christianity that, especially the latter, respecting your neighbor, love thy neighbor.
Right.
We have seen evidence of just the opposite of that in this country, especially those that claim from the rooftops that they, the Christianity is the way the country, was founded and how we need to be. And Yet they are as far from following the important tenets of Christianity as anybody is in this, showing the way they've treated immigrants this year. It's been just absolutely heartbreaking.
And he's calling that out. He's challenging the Christian right with fundamental arguments that they can understand.
Yeah. Yes.
It's very powerful.
Food for thought for them, for sure.
Very powerful to watch.
I think he's a rising star. We're looking for heroes in the Democratic Party right now. We're looking for new voices. People are fed up with Congress, with in many people's views, the lack of the kind of intensity that needs to be put on and the pressure that needs to be put on this president and Republicans. But a man coming from like Tallarico, from where he comes from, he speaks kindly, softly. He's got morality on his side, and he's got truth, and he's got love. He's got love on his side.
Christianity at its core, and if you're really talking about the teachings of Jesus, and I can't believe that phrase just came out of my mouth because I'm spiritual, but not super religious.
Both of us, same, yeah.
But if you talk about that, I mean, that's progressive. That's love, and that's compassion, and that's, as you said, love thy neighbor. And he is putting that front and center in his campaign. Love thy neighbor, whomever they are.
Whomever they are. Whoever. And he said, I saw a clip with him and Lauren Boebert on Bill Maher's show. And, he said, yes, if you want to be a Christian, you should be a Christian. But if you want to be agnostic, if you want to be a Muslim, if you want to be Sikh, whatever you want to be, Jewish, whatever you want to be, that's what this country was founded on. And we need people to keep reminding the rest of the world that that's what we are about. And we're going to stick with that. And we have to stick with freedom of religion, separation of church and state. It's fundamental.
That's right.
It's fundamental to our democracy. Speaking of fundamental, we're going to fundamentally take a break here. Callers, I see you, and we're going to come back to you in just a moment. But, of course, before we do that, we're going to have the lovely Kathy Voltmer talk about our friend David Hochberg.
Well, if you're purchasing a new home, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. Kim, single mom and longtime renter, called David after reading several of his over 700 five-star Google reviews to get pre-qualified to purchase her first home. David answered Kim's questions, supplied her realtor with numerous pre-approval letters until she located and purchased the perfect home for her and her 6-year-old daughter, Sophia. So let's review. Kim contacted David to secure a mortgage on her first home, and David helped her secure a low interest rate mortgage with only 5% down. If you're purchasing a home and would like the same outstanding service and low interest rate as Kim received, call Team Hochberg now, 855-563-2843, or visit 56david.com. Team Hochberg help Kim and thousands of WCPT listeners, but they can't help if you don't call. That's 855-563-2843, or visit that website you know and love, 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, NMLS number 1124061.
We are going to take a short break, and when we get back, callers, we're going to get to you right here on WCPT, where facts matter.
Welcome back. I'm Paulo Cristobal. You're listening to Out Chicago on WCPT.
And we are back on WCPT's Out Chicago. I am filling in for Scott today while he's on vacation. With me is the lovely and talented Kathy Voltmer.
Great to be here.
It's so great to have you with me, Kathy. You're with me morning, noon, and night. Why not do the radio show with me as well?
We have no time apart.
No, we don't, but that's okay because we actually like each other. We don't want to, we would be remiss if we did not mention the sad passing of civil rights warrior Jesse Jackson. Passed away earlier this week. He's been fighting long illness for a while, but he was still out there. I mean, he was up there till the end. We were at a concert for Stevie Wonder about a year and a half ago.
He was there.
He was there. They put the spotlight on him and they put him on the screen. And this is This is the spirit that he had.
6 decades he's been in the spotlight. What a towering figure.
Since I was a little
In
kid.
the civil rights.
Yeah.
I remember when I first came to Chicago in the 90s, and I was doing some reporting for another radio station, and they sent me down to Rainbow Push to do to cover a news conference that the Reverend Jackson was holding. And oh my God, it was unbelievable meeting him. You know how some people just have a presence about them, like a glow, like a light, and he indeed had that. I mean, years and years as a minister and an activist, and his presidential campaigns, his moves for economic justice, the international diplomacy, his civil rights. I mean, you can't say enough about what this man has meant to the United States.
Exactly.
And to the world.
And of course, it's no surprise that our dear leader didn't mention him. No mention of the flags at half-staff, even though he was quick to ask for the flags at half-staff for Charlie Kirk, who was a divider, when we had a man that was a uniter that did not. Of course, it doesn't surprise us, but it is sickening. It's just another just another example of the inept and cruel leadership that we are under right now.
Can we say racist?
And we must say racist, because that is at the crux of his cruelty. We do have a caller, and they want to speak about Jesse Jackson. So let's go to line 1. Michael, you're on Out Chicago.
Hi, good afternoon to both of you.
Hi, good afternoon, Michael.
Yes, it's really that. Hi, Ellen, it's really that I get that chance to publicly talk to your other half on radio. I think I did last year.
Yes, you did.
But I wanted to say, I knew Reverend Jackson. I supported Reverend Jackson. I've been a member of PUSH since let me just say this. I got a D in religion in 1974 from Hales Franciscan High School. In order to bring that grade up, I had to I had 2 choices. I could do community service, or I could go to other archdiocese high schools. At the time, it was blatantly dangerous for me to go to those schools that offered religion in the summertime because of racism and segregation, quite frankly. With that being said, I had 2 things I had to do. That my dad had to come up to school, and we had to deal with what that community service was going to be. Part of it was doing some days at Providence Hospital, because I could type 90 words a minute. They quickly put me in their public relations office. Also, I had to go to SCLC, PUSH. I've been going to Operation PUSH since 1975.
Wow.
On a regular basis on Saturdays, except for when I was working and couldn't go. Let me just say this. It was the faith as far as Martin Luther King was greatly influenced by Mahatma Gandhi in England. But it was Baynard Rustin, a black, openly gay man, who accompanied him. That's how he began it was the influence of his faith and the non-tactic, non-fight back, but not strike back, but fight back tactics that were used. Reverend Jackson was one of the advisors. Now, I, myself, and Mark Lovelace and Reverend Jackson appeared on the cover of Black Lines magazine in 1997. In 1987, he was the only candidate or person of immense visibility that was part of the march on Washington.
Mm-hmm.
He was the only one. I think Congressman Frank Barnes was also there, but he was a candidate. And let me lastly say, Stan, I go back with the Blackhawks when I used to watch Stan Makita.
Oh, yeah.
We talking way back. And that's because my grammar school, St. Joachim, we had a classmate who knew somebody down at, I think it was an amphitheater, I can't remember, where they played hockey at. But that was before the United Center.
Well, they played at the old stadium, Chicago Stadium.
Yeah, the old stadium.
Yeah.
The Chicago Stadium.
Chicago
and
Stadium.
We went to one game. So, and I have little brothers who ice skated in the Chicago Park District fields that during the winter we could in our area because I grew up in Chatham. But lastly, I wanted to say that we have to understand that only by the vote do average Americans have the ability to change their government. And we have to use that. You know, if we don't, we won't have a democracy. And it is clear to me that this man is a fascist. And lastly, let me say this. When you were talking about freedom, we have freedom of the press. And it was terrible that John Lennon went through what he went through. And it'll be interesting to see how that is, how he deals with it. I know he's already been to court, but I'm waiting to see how much he's going to sue Trump. And, I mean, when they get through, it looks like Trump is going to have to, this man is going to, well, first he's already thumbed his nose at the Supreme Court.
Yeah, he was a crying, petulant baby this week. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
You know, it is unprecedented.
It is. You know, they got mad at Obama. Yeah, when Obama criticized Citizens United at a State of the Union address in 2010, you know, it was just, oh my gosh, what a travesty. Yet, you know, that nothing compared to what he did. I got to let you go, but before I do, I have one question for you. To me, Jesse Jackson was one of the last remaining living connections to Martin Luther King. Are there any others that are still with us that fought alongside King?
Well, first I must remind you and the audience that he was a reverend. He and Martin Luther King were reverends.
Yes, indeed.
So it should always be used.
Reverend Jackson. Thank you for that correction. You're so right.
So, you know, there are a lot of those individuals. We are no longer led by no oppressed entity in this country is led anymore by just one type of leadership. I see young people who understand the tactics that were used by both of these men. That's why the No Kings March was so large and so well organized. And I assume that we're going to have a lot more. So
we are going to have a lot more. The next one, I believe, is March
28th.
28th. Michael, thank you for your call. My condolences to you and so many other of our warriors out there on the loss of Reverend Jackson. I was so proud that he was from Chicago, and his work and his memory will live in infamy. Thank you so much. Anything else you wanted to add, Kathy?
Michael's the perfect person to call in for this. He's a member of the Chicago LGBTQ Hall of Fame, by the way, and he has worked in civil rights and grassroots organizing and LGBTQ issues and African-American issues his whole life and career. And it's nice to hear him weighing in on the loss that we are all feeling because of Reverend Jackson's passing, and also to talk about, as he did briefly, his Reverend Jackson's early advocacy for LGBTQ rights following his work with Dr. King.
Good reminder, for sure. You know, when I was a kid growing up in the lily-white northwest suburbs of Chicago, Prospect Heights, I went to church in Glenview, and I didn't realize it at the time, but I looked back and I had 2 Sunday school teachers that were very progressive, and they taught us in Sunday school about something called Operation Breadbasket, which was the first incarnation of Jesse Jackson's work here in Chicago when he came together with the coalition, and then it became called Operation Push and Rainbow Coalition. And I was like, what is he talking about? Why is he talking about this black man that because again, I'm a kid from the suburbs where, let's face it, it was not exactly a diverse or open-minded area when it came to racial issues. So I was always grateful to those Sunday school teachers for teaching me early about Jesse Jackson, Reverend Jackson's great work. We knew he was ill for a while, and but he fought till the end, and always going to be a giant in the civil rights world.
Services will be held this week. He's lying in state at the Rainbow Push Coalition Thursday and Friday. And then they'll travel to South Carolina. He's born in Greenville and Washington, D.C. to pay respects there. Then a People's Celebration in Chicago on March 6th, and then his private homegoing celebration at Push on the 7th of March.
Speaking of leaders, I do want to give a mention to our fine Governor Pritzker, who did his state of the state to the state legislature earlier this week. If those of you that heard about his speech, there was one particular clip that Kathy and I thought really resonated, especially the time we're in right now. And we do want to share Governor Pritzker's words. Stick with us. This is, to me, Heather Cox Richardson highlighted it earlier this week in her newsletter, and she did so for a great reason, because his words are very inspiring. Let's listen to Governor Pritzker's speech.
I know right now there are a lot of people out there who love their country and feel like their country is not loving them back. I know that. I also know that love unrequited can break a heart made fragile by dashed hope. Which is why it's important for me to stand before you today and tell you that your country is loving you back, just not in the way you're used to hearing. It's not speaking in anthems or flags or ostentatious displays of patriotism. It will never come from the people who say the only way to love America is to hate Americans. Love is found in every act of courage, large and small, taken to preserve the country we once knew. You will find it in homes and schools and churches and art. It is there. It has not been squashed. Over the last 12 months, I've heard love start to shout here in Illinois. I heard it from the bicyclers who showed up in Little Village every day during Operation Midway Blitz to buy out tamale carts so the vendors could return to the safety of their homes. I heard it from the parishioners who formed human chains around churches so that immigrants could worship. I heard it from the moms in the school pickup line who whipped out their cameras and their whistles. I saw it in every face of a Midwesterner who put on their heaviest coat and protested outside on the coldest day. I am begging my fellow politicians, my fellow Illinoisans, my fellow Americans, to realize that right now in this country we are not fighting over policy or political party. We are fighting over whether we are going to be a civilization rooted in empathy and kindness, or one rooted in cruelty and rage. What you choose to arm yourself with in this fight, love or hate, exposes which side you are fighting on. Only the weakest of people believe that love is the weakest of weapons.
Governor Pritzker, I can't say enough about him. I just, his words are, I've talked about when we had him on the show a couple of years ago when he first, 8 years ago, I guess now, when he was running for governor. And he was my least favorite candidate going into the interview. And by the time we were done, he was my favorite candidate because he was authentic. He talked about his experience as a young kid being taken to the Castro in San Francisco by his mom by the hand to the gay pride parades. So he lives and breathes it because it is a part of his fabric. LGBTQ rights for the oppressed. He may be a zillionaire, but he doesn't lose sight of humanity and compassion and love, and that's why I like him so much.
He sounded downright presidential in that speech, didn't he?
Sure did. So more about that. We are going to take a break. When we come back, we've got holidays starring in a holiday at the Goodman Theater. Wesley Taylor is now appearing. He's gracing us with a few words here before he goes on to his matinee. In the meantime, you're listening to WCPT AM, where facts matter.
Hi, this is Renee Taylor. You're listening to Out Chicago, WCPT 820.
We are indeed back. I'm Ellen Miller, sitting in for Scott. Kathy Voltmer is my guest co-host.
And her.
Oops, here we go. And my wife, of course. Hey, Monday on Live, Local, and Progressive, Joan Esposito will be talking to Kendall Scudder, chair of the Texas Democratic Party, Democratic candidate for Illinois Comptroller Holly Kim, Max Beaver, director of public information with the Chicago Board of Elections, and North Central College political science professor Suzanne Chod. Live, Local, and Progressive, weekdays from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Central on WCPT, 820 a.m., heartlandsignal.com, and tune in, of course. So we are back, and, Kathy and I were lucky enough to see the play Holiday at the Goodman Theater a couple weeks ago. The Chicago Tribune called it not to be missed, gave it 4 stars. It's a contemporary adaptation of Philip Berry's classic play that inspired the beloved 1930s film with Cary Grant and Kathy's all-time favorite actress, Katharine Hepburn.
I love her.
I know you do, and your name is spelled the same way as hers too. One of our favorite standout.
It's not. You just spelled it on the notes.
Oh, I spelled it on the notes because you're always Kathryn.
That's right.
Everybody is that way to me. Anyway, the play. We really enjoyed the standout performance of the play, in our opinion, from actor Wesley Taylor. He was making his Goodman Theater debut as Ned Seaton, and joining us now, right before his matinee, Wesley Taylor. Hey, Wesley, welcome to Out Chicago.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for coming on with us. We appreciate it. You've got a great resume, everything from Broadway hits like SpongeBob SquarePants and Rock of Ages to TV's Only Murders in the Building and the soon-to-be-released movie, The Devil Wears Prada 2. Tell us, what does it mean, Wesley, for you to be in Chicago with this new production at the Goodman?
The Goodman is one of my dream venues. So it was a bucket list place to work at for me. Chicago, any actor worth their salt knows about Chicago theater. Steppenwolf, Goodman, these are institutions that we all dream of working at. So it really was a dream come true. I've been to Chicago a handful of times. I was here when I was 23 with the out-of-town tryout of the Addams Family. So it's not my first time in Chicago. I wish I would be in Chicago in the summertime.
Yeah, well,
I'll just say that.
Someday, hopefully.
Someday I'll come back in the summer. But no, I'm not complaining.
I am just so thrilled to be doing this great play, this great part at this great theater.
Well, your enthusiasm for Chicago shows, because your performance is just like out of this world. It's just fantastic. You hit it out of the park. Kath?
It is such a good thing to go to the theater and see a romantic comedy. I'm sorry, everything's so heavy.
Agreed.
And Holiday was like just a dream come true. And since I love the movie, and the play's just one of the classics of the theater, I wondered how it felt about doing an adaptation like this. Were you at all nervous about how something that was so classic was going to be updated, and how the creating the character of Ned would be received?
Of course. Well, I'm thrilled to hear that you loved the movie and you also loved this adaptation, because I was also enamored with that movie with Katharine Hepburn and Cary Grant. It's just a wonderful movie, and I think the play is really solid, the original play. But Richard Greenberg, I think, was the perfect playwright to match this. The Philip Berry estate essentially commissioned Richard Greenberg, the playwright, who's very prolific and has had many plays on Broadway to great acclaim, and is known for his sort of elevated language and wit, and it just was a perfect match, I think. And I knew of Richard Greenberg's work. Take Me Out is a play that I love and adore, and he made this character Ned, who is in the original play, in the movie, he's a drunken bachelor.
Right.
I think it is queer coded, but it's not talked about, know. And in this modern day adaptation, Richard Greenberg fully fleshes him out and makes him a fully realized out and gay man. And it's more theatrical, and it's more Ned pops more in this current adaptation. I think he's really fleshed out and fully realized, so I appreciate that.
Well, your performance is both funny and poignant, and it really felt like you were all a family. Tell us about working with the other cast members. How's that experience been for you?
Yeah, it's a family play, so chemistry is so important, and we spent so much time bonding and going out and being a family together, because that was valuable to us. But I just adore those girls, Molly Griggs and Bryce Gangle, who play my two sisters. We're all staying across the street at the Marquee. They put us out-of-towners across the street, which has been nice in the weather.
Yeah.
To only be across the street. But no, I adore them, and I think they're brilliant. And it's been really, rewarding to work with them.
It really shows. Now, you said you've been hanging out together. What have you had a chance to explore Chicago, and I know you don't have many nights off, maybe one night off, but what have you discovered that you're particularly, into, or yeah?
Well, yeah, I'm allowing myself to be a little bit more social and go out a little bit more than usual. I tend to typically do musicals, and so I just am enjoying the ability to go out and drink a little bit after a show gets out, and Bryce, who plays Linda Seaton, the protagonist. Bryce is actually from Chicago. She lives in LA now, but she originally came up in Chicago, so she knows the city a lot better than we do. And so she'll show us around and take us to a drag show and take us to this bar and this club. And Luigi, who plays Johnny Case, our romantic lead, he's invited us to his neighborhood and take us to this authentic Chicago bar and this, hot dog joint. This, so it's been really rich.
Any names you want to drop? Any bars you remember?
Okay, let's see. He took us to Loafers the other night. Do you guys know where Loafers is? I'm thinking that's probably Lincoln Park area.
Yeah, we live in Lincoln Park area. We live in Lakeview, right next door. I know the name, but I can't picture where it is. Is it a gay bar?
No, it wasn't. But we did go out to the gay club. We went to Boys Town after opening night.
Good.
We went to Sidetrack.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, because it was open on a Monday night, of course, Musical Mondays.
Yes.
Did you sing?
And the last time,
did you sing along?
I didn't. I did not sing, but this was like the first time I'd been back to Sidetrack since I was 23, and I went with Nathan Lane.
Oh my gosh! I wish I would have been there that night.
Yes, exactly. And they threw on the producers on the TVs, and it was fun.
Good, you're getting out. You're hitting some of our favorites.
You know,
Yeah.
Ellen and I just loved your character Cliff in Only Murders in the Building. Every time you were on screen, I mean,
Oh, my God.
we laughed. We just seeing you and your mother.
You and your mother. Oh my God! You stole the. I mean, with
It's hard to steal that show.
It is with
but
all
you
the
did.
comedy going. Tell us about that experience.
I mean, it was just. I had to pinch myself all the time on that set. You know, when I auditioned for it, I didn't realize that I was going to be in the same season as Meryl Streep.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
So it was, you know, that was so overwhelming. And I got to say, there's no one better. You know, Meryl is just like, there's no excuse for anyone to act anything less than gracious and wonderful, because she is. She's just the easiest person to be around. She's a dream to work with. And it's just, they say don't meet your heroes, but I mean, she did not disappoint.
Everybody that meets, everybody that meets her loves her. All right, so I have to ask you some gossip. Are her and Martin an item? or a hint? I mean, are they just really friendly, or are they more than friends?
Listen, I can't, like, I don't, all I know is when it first started happening, I thought it was just for fun. I thought it was play. I thought they were just, like, kind of teasing the press, you know? But then I think I realized it was real. And it was this real thing that was happening. Now, I don't have confirmation. I'm not going to be, like, breaking this tea on air right now. But I don't really know for sure, but I do have a good feeling like it's real.
Yeah.
And I love that for them. I'm rooting for them.
I do too, because as a friend once told me, Wesley, years ago, when I'd tell them about I'm dating this one or that one, they'd say, "But do they make you laugh?" And I've realized that in life, having a partner that makes you laugh is everything. And I can't think of two people. I mean, because, you know, the great actor that she is, but she's got a great comedic timing and great comedic skill.
Hilarious.
So the two of them together, I love it too. I think it's a fabulous match.
Can you believe, like, would young Wesley ever believe that you'd be, like, talking about your relationship with Meryl Streep on a radio show? I mean, that's the coolest thing ever.
I mean, I'm sure I dreamed about it, but no, it's pretty wild, yeah.
While we're asking you to spill secrets, can you spill any secrets about Devil Wears Prada 2?
Yeah.
Also one of my favorite movies.
No, I probably shouldn't say anything about that. I mean, I have a very small feature in that. So I'm very curious and excited to see it as well. But no, it was just a one day on set situation. I was just happy to be orbiting the worlds of Meryl Streep once again.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You're like
besties now.
You're going to be in everything with her now. I think it's a trend.
That's right.
So I understand you're also a writer. Is there anything you're working on now that you want to share with us?
Well, I am working on something, but it's not ready to talk about.
Oh,
it's not ready to be shared.
All
Well, you're going to have to come back, I guess, and talk to us about it.
I will have to come back. No, my writing partner and I have a feature film called Summoning Sylvia, which you can rent on Amazon Prime. It's on Starz. It's on AMC Plus. But it is a very queer comedy. It's a spooky comedy. It's classified as horror, but it's really not a horror movie. It's a spooky comedy, if you will, and it's real short. It's 80 minutes, but it's a cast of queer men having a gay bachelor party in a haunted house, and it's very funny, and so that's what I'll direct people to.
Love it. And we need more queer content out there. So God bless you for doing it. We are an LGBTQ focused show. So we'd be remiss if we didn't ask you how your journey as an out gay man has influenced your career. And I know that you could probably talk for hours about that, but we're up against a hard break. We want to let you go before your matinee today, but we have to ask you that question.
Of course. You know, I think when I first started, I graduated from drama school in 2008, and I was out, but I didn't quite realize that I would need to come out again, like publicly, at the stage door, people were asking me if I was gay or straight. My first show, Rock of Ages, off Broadway, and I was like, oh, right, I need to, I guess, make this a public thing again. And, at first I was all selfishly concerned about my career and about like being pigeonholed or typecast or not getting to play a range of humans because people have limited imaginations, even in the theater and TV and film. But then I quite quickly realized my responsibility as an artist. And I'm not an artist to be rich and famous. I'm an artist because I love storytelling and connection and human behavior and observation. So it became clear to me that I had a purpose and a responsibility to play gay characters, and there shouldn't just be a few archetypes.
No.
We have just as much nuance and complexity as straight characters, and the more I get to play them and write them and represent that, the more they will be added to the canon. So it's I don't take it lightly.
No, and the proof's in the pudding. You keep doing what you're doing, Wesley, because honestly, Kathy and I were floored by your performance. We appreciate that you came on with us today. You have a matinee coming up, as we mentioned. You can see Wesley at the Goodman Theater in their latest smash hit, Holiday Now, through March 8th. Thank you very much. I hope to see you at Sidetrack one of these nights.
Thanks for having me.
All the best. We are going to be right back after the noon news with Second City's Kat McDonald. You're listening to Out Chicago on WCPT.
Hi, I'm Spencer Tweedy, and you're listening to Out Chicago on WCPT.
And we are back. I'm Ellen Miller. I'm sitting in for Scott in the host seat. Kathy Voltmer is my guest co-host today. Hey, Monday on Driving It Home, Patty Vasquez will be joined by guest co-host Ken Mejia Beal, who's a good friend of ours.
He's on the show sometimes.
Often on the show, host Zahn. He's a great guy. And their guests include Harold Gatewood, chair of the Chicago Gay Men's Caucus, Dr. Jason Bussell of Chicago Community Acupuncture, and U.S. Senate candidate Kevin Ryan. Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez, weekdays from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Central on WCPT, 8:20 a.m., the Heartland Signal website, tune in, YouTube, and Facebook. And also, we want to give you a reminder that our other friends, we have so many friends. We're so lucky. We have an embarrassment of riches here. Scott says I need to come up with a new phrase, but I think that one really is appropriate for what we got going on here. Artemis Singers, Chicago's lesbian feminist chorus, is holding a fundraiser at 7 p.m. Sunday, February 22nd. Tonight's February 22nd, isn't it? At Hamburger Mary's, 1055 West Bryn Mawr Avenue in Chicago. People can play bingo with Artemis Singers. Suggested donation is $20 for a chance to win custom design prizes from Artemis. Visit www.artemissingers.org for details. The nonprofit Artemis Singers is raising funds to support its hosting of the July 2026 Sisters Singers Network Choral Festival in Chicago, which will be featuring 20 feminist choruses from around the United States.
That's 7 o'clock tonight at Hamburger Mary's on Bryn Mawr.
Go support the women that are doing their thing. They've been around for so many years. They're great. They always come up with thoughtful, interesting, thought-provoking concerts and programs. So please support them.
Speaking of women doing their thing.
Yeah, speaking of which, you've heard her many times on WCPT's Pride Parade broadcasts. Longtime Second City member and now an ensemble member of Second City's 114th main stage production, now in development. Please welcome Kat McDonald. Hi, Kat.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Kat. Welcome to Out Chicago. You're back.
Thank you. Yes, thanks for having me.
Oh, of course.
How's that condo, Kat?
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Especially right now, it's like we finally got it all set up. And I feel like, when life gets busy, now I have this beautiful place that I live. Oh, my God.
Well, we are so happy for you. Kathy and I are both real estate agents, for listeners that aren't aware of that. I'm sure most of you are. And we helped Kat last year find a fabulous, fabulous condo that we were so excited to get.
This isn't supposed to be a plug for us, but
it's kind of though.
Well, I was going to do it anyway.
Oh, you're so
highly recommend them.
You're so sweet. So, wow.
Congratulations.
Congratulations on the main stage.
Thank you.
Tell us about your journey to the main stage at Second City.
Oh, boy. Yeah, I mean, I moved here, and started taking classes in 2011, like right out of college. And I went through all the training center programs at Second City and also at IO and, did classes kind of around. And then the first gig I ever got there was like 10 years ago. I did a cruise ship contract for them where you like live on a cruise for 4 months. And
yeah, how was that?
It was really cool. And it was like really weird.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I did it. And then I sort of have meandered around in different jobs there for a while. I did some even like directing stuff for several years, and then I kind of missed performing. So I auditioned to like understudy some stuff, and then I went through the touring company, and then, now this, which is just literally like the dream. Like when I moved here, just the dream, so it's just really cool.
We're so proud of you. I mean, Bill Murray, Tina Fey, Steve Carell, Amy Poehler, Chris Farley, John Belushi, Mike Myers, Dan Aykroyd, and
Kat McDonald.
I mean, holy heck. That's amazing. We're so proud of you. Is it ever, it's got to be somewhat daunting, but do you feel like as a member of the LGBT community that you're bringing kind of a unique voice to a, storied institution?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're really lucky that so I have another gay cast member and another queer cast member. So it's really nice because we already have a scene in the show that I love that is something we're playing around with. We test new material all the time, so we're testing a scene that really feels like it's representing us, which is really cool. And they have a million ideas of things I want to pursue with that, and I know my friends do too. So, yeah, it's really it's a neat thing to do. And then there's also the part of you that, as an actor, it's like, I want to, I just want to explore new things and try new things and bring whatever I can to the stage. So
and you do. So what can you tell us anything else about the show, or is it all got to be top secret because it's not?
Oh, no. Let's see. Right now we're in the phase of like, it's early, so we are just throwing ideas at the wall. So like every night you might come in with like a pitch, which is just sort of like, hey, what if we did this? And then, maybe in our third act you get to test it out or try something new. Or maybe not even. Maybe you have an improv slot in the show, which is just where you're like paired up with a couple of people in the existing show and you get to improvise. And that's actually how we found this lovely queer scene currently, was just through improv. And then you kind of keep honing it through improv every night, which is really fun.
It's kind of cool to hear your behind-the-scenes take on how these shows are developed. What would surprise people about the whole process? Is there anything that you think would surprise people about it?
I do think that, especially like right now, we are in a phase where we're still doing the previous show, meaning like we took over roles in the 113th review, which is this 2-shelf flap, and so we're still doing that show, and we're also creating our new material like during the day or for the third act, or like I said, in like the little improv slots that we get in those shows. I think though, as we move forward, like people would be surprised that we're improvising. Like sometimes it's not even contextualized as improv. You're just like doing something as though it's a scene, but really you're improvising based on, say you did the same thing the night before and you're trying to like recreate it little by little into some, shape it into something that I don't think people would, if we don't get a suggestion, they tend to not think we're improvising.
So I understand correctly. So the show that's on now, the 113th, this entire 114th cast is taken over that show? Or?
Yeah. So the way it kind of works is like, so Bill Letts is still there, who from that previous cast, he was in that show. The rest of us are new to the main stage. Everyone comes from, some of us came from the touring company. Yasmin came from the main stage in New York. Eddie Mujica is a vet of the ETC stage. And so we we basically, for the first like month or so, you're kind of doing the previous show almost as if you were understudying it, but you learn it as and then you do it every night. And then in March, our show will transition to like process, meaning when people buy tickets, they're buying tickets to see live sketch comedy, to see process, but they're not buying tickets to the 113th review. So we no longer are going to be doing their material. We'll start doing more of ours, and people who buy tickets will know that,
Interesting. So is that the process and how long do people stay in the main stage? Is it just like the people, the powers that be say, okay, it's time to refresh it, or I'm always curious how that works.
Yeah, that's a great question. It kind of varies. Typically, it's about a year. Like you maybe start process, like right now we start process like February. We should open in May, and then it'll probably go, till February, but you just never know. And the other thing about doing satire and creating things like in this world is just wanting it to be relevant and also evergreen, and finding things that are both. And then sometimes people stay and do another, like Bill, and sometimes people only do one, sometimes people do three, so you really can kind of like there's no predicting exactly, but I know I'll be with these guys this year, which is sort of just how I'm thinking about it.
Fantastic. So tell me, I'm always curious about, I notice people that are sitting really up close tend to be picked on. And is there like do you, I don't want to give
always gets picked on.
But I'm not that close, but I have gotten picked on a few times.
How do you choose people who get picked on?
Yeah, how does that work? I'm curious.
That's a great question. I think it depends on the piece. Like, sometimes, we have sort of like set little, if you're in a position on stage and you're going to talk to an audience member in front of you, typically you're going to go to like one of the one or two people in front of you.
Right.
Sometimes I'm trying to think if there's anything I'm doing right now. I'm not really doing anything where I'm talking to anyone directly right now, but when I was, I would kind of look for, like, say I was doing something in maybe like the fourth scene in the show, I would maybe look during the first one or two scenes. If I was going to have a conversation with someone, I would kind of like look at who was there and who maybe it would feel like they maybe would be comfortable with that. That's something like I personally would kind of care about. Right. Or just having the ability to be like, okay, if this person's uncomfortable, I can say thank you and pivot to the next person, because, but the goal would be to also just like make people feel comfortable.
Well, I'm sure people that sit in the front row, there's probably a few of them that are there because they do want to get picked on. Right. Right.
Yeah. I mean, even here's a good example. Like last night in our 7 p.m. show, going back to the scene we've been trying out, where basically, so Yasmin, my cast member, and I we play like older friends, and we are lifelong friends, and our cast member Zoe is a younger person, like herself, 20s, and she's gay, and we're asking questions like about that. And as soon as we started the scene, I saw this gay couple, like these two lesbians in the front row. And before we even started the scene, I was just like, that's awesome. I'm so excited to do the scene. They're going to love this. And, and so partway through the scene, I don't know how it came about, but like, I think at some point I kind of acknowledged, like, we have family right here, and I kind of like gave a little high five to the most gay looking one. And it's just like fun like that, because it's so, we have this ability to like be in our own acting space while also being in this very intimate, like, interactive space, and like, I could, like, it was such a celebratory moment, and it felt really cool. And I know she was pumped. So
I'm sure she was. Yeah. I'm sure. So speaking of gay couples, how do your partner, Claudia Martinez, is also a comedian. What's it like with two funny women in the house?
Well, I mean, you guys know I'm going to say this. Like, Claudia's a lot funnier than I am.
No, you're both funny.
You guys are funny differently.
We're funny differently. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think the cool thing is, like, for me personally, entering into this job, I feel so lucky to have someone who understands not just the art and the art form and the industry, but like specifically this job. Like, you know, someone who gets that where my headspace is at right now, because it is a little bit like, you know, we're here 6 days a week. We're there all day and all night. Some nights we have multiple shows. And it's just like, you're so drained. You're kind of not much of a person outside of that, or I at least am someone who, like, I don't have a lot of excess to give, and to have someone who's just like not just so supportive and you know, makes me lunches to bring in and like, and just kind of is there to bounce ideas off of, or just like listen to me or talk to me. And you know, she's doing her own stuff, as you guys know, so yeah, I just feel really lucky, really seen, you know.
Well, you're a great couple, and I can totally, you know, it is a gift for both of you to understand where you're coming from on a daily basis, because it's hard to go out and do what you do.
Do you guys bounce stuff off each other, or do you kind of stay in your own lanes?
Yeah, no, we do. Like, she, if we ask, you know, like, so, I might like, I might have an idea at home, and for some reason I like to buy costumes or try things on before I even bring them into the room, just to like play around in the mirror to like find a character. And so I might like, play around with a character at home before I bring it in or something.
Right.
And so just like, kind of engage with her a little bit, or be like, I think this person would say this, and she'll be like, yeah, you know, it's kind of reading like this, like just kind of someone to talk to like that.
Yeah,
who really gets it.
Probably like you guys as real estate agents together.
Yeah, you see us in action. You've seen us in action, how we operate. So, you know, with everything going on in the world right now, Kat, you know, the heavy and often depressing nature of life in our current environment, do you ever just wake up and say, I don't really feel like being funny today? Or do you just accept the challenge and say, I got to create much needed common relief for me and the people?
That's a great question. I definitely wake up feeling drained, and I think if I ever go in with the mentality of like, oh my gosh, I have to satirically tackle all these big things, that's when I feel the most drained, and I'm like, I don't know if I have it. Meaning, like, I don't know if I have the right avenue for this, blah, blah, blah. And that's when I remember, like, I'm with a cast of people, and like we can all find stuff together, and it's sort of not just like on me to figure out how to like talk about certain things, or I don't have to talk about things I don't want to, or whatever. And then when we go in, even on days where I do maybe feel a little heavy, and we do just like a fun show, and it's so funny and weird, and, you know, maybe we touch on things, maybe we don't. Often we do, at least a little. It's just like, yeah, that feeling of relief. You're like, oh, wow, I was a part of something that felt really needed today.
Yeah.
Even for me, too. Like, even the audience, when an audience is like really wonderful, and like really having a blast, like they're giving me something too, where I'm like, yeah, we're all in a room and we're like being joyful together, and that in itself is like an act of activism, you know.
Oh, it's therapeutic and cathartic as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, it really.
Yes. Yeah.
Speaking of Second City folks and Second City alum, I'm a huge fan of Amy Poehler's podcast, because it always it's uplifting, and at the end of the every podcast, she's always like, okay, what are you watching now, or what are you doing now that's making you laugh? And I think that's a great question, because you're such a funny person, and I think we all, like you said, we all need to laugh. It is an act of resistance. What are you listening to or watching now that makes you laugh, that sort of gives you a break from all this?
Well, it's so funny you say that, because it's Amy Poehler's podcast. Like, some nights I'll come home and sometimes I'll run a bath, and I'll put it on my phone and just like put it over there, and I'll watch the episode. Like the first weekend, it was like, you know, adjusting to this whole schedule and this whole job, and it, you know, it's like it's just a lot. And you're like, okay, this is so fun. And it's also so draining and like my body, whatever, like, and it can feel overwhelming. I drew a bath and I watched her interview with Carol Burnett.
Yes, I knew you were going to say that one. I knew it. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God, it was so
It was
good.
the
And I just
best.
sat in the bath for like way too long. Like I was so pruny, and I watched the whole thing in the bath. The bath was cold. I was wrinkly, and I just got out of the bath. And at that point, it's like 1:30 in the morning, and then I'm like feeling inspired, and then I'm like wanting to write until like 4. But yeah, Amy Poehler's podcast for sure is the thing.
And Carol Burnett, what a gift! What a gift she is, and just Kathy and I love that interview so much. Kat, we love you so much, we owe you a dinner. I know you're busy as all get up, but we got to get you and Claudia
over. You guys gotta come over.
All right, we want to come over. All right, we'll work
something.
when your spare time. Kat McDonald is appearing in Second City's 114th Main Stage show. It's currently in production, debuting in May. Kat, all the best. We will see you very soon, and we really appreciate you coming on with us today.
Thank you.
Thanks. Love you.
Love to Claudia.
Bye. Love having Kat on with us.
She's the best,
She
right?
is. She is. So I'm so happy for her. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to have State Senator Sarah Feigenholtz in studio. So stick around. It's Out Chicago on WCPT, where facts matter.
Welcome back to Out Chicago on Chicago's Progressive Talk. Can I get you another Bellini?
Oh, I'd love a Bellini.
I thought
but
Sarah
I don't drink.
Feigenholtz was going to bring Bellinis in for us.
Yeah, I was looking forward to her bringing us Bellinis, but instead, no, we're happy to have her. I'm hosting for Scott. With me is my guest co-host, Kathy Voltmer. She's a political force of nature, a dedicated public servant, and a longtime advocate of Chicago's LGBTQ community. Now joining us is the one and only State Senator Sarah Feigenholtz. Welcome, my friend.
Oh my goodness, what an intro.
Well, you deserve it. You deserve
Hi,
everything.
guys.
How are you?
I am doing great. Great. How about you?
We're doing great too. It's Kathy and I get to host about once a year, so it's an honor and a privilege to have you on as one of our 3 guests today.
We're having fun, and we're getting inundated with all sorts of political mailings. I got one from you the other day.
She's showing it.
Brought it in. You're everywhere.
Yes.
You're everywhere.
You are, of course, up for re-election in Chicago's 6th district. For those listeners who don't know you yet, tell us a little bit about your journey to state senator.
So I have been in Lakeview, our community, for decades, and worked with the former Senate president. My mom was a doctor in the neighborhood at Masonic, and she had a storefront office on Clark. And it's sort of when I fell in love with the neighborhood. And lo and behold, I began a career in public service and was encouraged to run. And here I am, all these years later, still loving the community, working hard for the community, and still bouncing out of bed every day to take care of my neighbors.
Well, you are a Spitfire, and you are always at it. I know you're my state senator. You know, from our district, we live in the 6th district. I know you were in Springfield this week to hear about the state's budget. What were your takeaways from this week's
State of the State
speech? Yeah.
You know, there was so much in the governor's remarks from beginning to end, but I think for purposes of our day-to-day kitchen table issues, I was very happy to hear about his proposal on housing, especially because many cities, major cities in the country, including Illinois and Chicago especially, are suffering from affordability issues, housing affordability. And it was just a delight to hear that he has a pretty aggressive agenda on tackling that. And I am carrying one piece of legislation. It's been a great year to start to tackle housing. Let's put it that way, because we have a very desirable neighborhood, as you know. not a lot of affordability. And so we are going to work on building more and getting people housed.
Yeah, it's so important. And we, of course, Kathy and I know firsthand from being in the real estate industry how difficult it is to, I mean, even people with means. I mean, it's hard for them, let alone people, that are struggling economically. So that's great to hear. We played, I don't know if you heard the beginning of our show, but we did play the last few minutes of Governor Pritzker's speech. How did it go over with the rest of the legislature?
I think that what was so poignant about it was he wants people to know that we love them. Mm-hmm. Did you get that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the part we played. Yep.
Yes. Unbelievable. I mean, I think that there were many tear puddles when I think America and Illinois and Chicago, I think we all needed to hear that he is tuned into feeling like America has abandoned us. Mm-hmm. And that was sort of how he started and said, we're here for you. You see that our governor is not shrinking violet. Is that fair?
Yes, that is very fair.
He has been taking on the governor, the president, full force. Yesterday, I don't know if you saw he sent President Trump an invoice of once the court overturned the tariffs, what he owes every person in Illinois, which was absolutely brilliant on his part. Mm-hmm. People in our community sort of have sticker shock when they go through the grocery store. I was in Mariano's last night, and it's shocking what things are costing Americans and how careful we have to be about our budgets. And what is going on in the streets of Chicago, where ICE is kidnapping people. I think that you're seeing a governor and our constitutional officers pushing back really hard and winning. I think that our attorney general has filed 51 lawsuits against the federal government. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, very impressive.
We're on the forefront of the fight against Trump, and you've been on the forefront of a lot of fights that are very important to us and very important to our listeners. What do you think, besides affordability and housing and ICE, are the most urgent needs for our state, and how do you plan to meet them head on?
One of the things that was a looming problem that we tackled during veto session was the fiscal cliff that the transit service boards were facing. We were going to end up with a lot of cuts to CTA service, which was still struggling from coming back from COVID, accommodating a shorter and more flexible work week for people who are working from home. A lot of challenges with people smoking on the trains, unclean, and dangerous, frankly. We heard from a lot of constituents about the fear that women have getting on the train, on the red line. And so we passed an incredibly successful bill that dealt with reforms so that more of a carrot and stick approach. We demanded reforms before we came up with any funding, because in our neighborhood, people don't have automobiles. They don't want them. They rely on public transportation, and when they can't, we will lose them. People will leave, or they will clog the streets with automobiles and other means of transportation. And we want them on our buses. We want them back on our trains. And we demanded safety, timeliness, and cleanliness.
What does the safety look like? I'm just curious. My job is, I've never really ridden the train very often because I've been in sales and in real estate. It doesn't work for us.
And police can't be everywhere.
And they can't be everywhere. My sister goes down, and people are frightened to be on the L a lot at certain hours of the day. What can we do about the safety issue? What's the answer, do you think?
Well, I think that one of the elements of the legislation had social service agencies working with the people who are on these trains 24/7 to keep out of the cold and the elements. And recently, I did see some folks helping someone off the train with their belongings and hopefully bringing them into healthcare and housing and or shelter or services. And I think we need to be a lot more aggressive about helping the unhoused find shelter.
Yes, good point.
Especially on the trains.
Yeah. They're riding all day just because for a place to be, a place to hang, place to sleep. And it's
that is written into the legislation. That is drafted into the legislation, that this will be an ongoing effort on the part of CTA working with social service providers to facilitate that.
Do we have enough people and enough budget to do that?
Oh, yes.
Good. Okay. That's good to know.
The funding we did is significant and hopefully into perpetuity so that we don't have to have these lapses and panic moments where, oh my God, my bus route is going to get cut. We don't want that.
No.
We want reliable public transportation, modern public transportation into the future.
Absolutely.
Your opponent in the upcoming primary, Nick Januski, is getting some traction as a change candidate. How do you balance that desire that a lot of people have for change with the wisdom and knowledge that comes from years and years and years of experience in the job?
Well, I think you just answered my question. I think that I can only run on my record. I legislate proactively and sort of am very tuned into this community, and I think experience matters. I am very future-centric, and I am concerned about the safety of this community and respond, like I said, proactively. And none of what I do is theoretical. What I do will continue, and if you want someone who knows how to turn shared values into laws and deliver real results quickly, I'm that person.
Well, you certainly show up. You're everywhere. You're tireless, and I've observed that over the years. You also have many LGBTQ endorsements. Are there any in particular that you're especially proud of, and why?
Well, if we look back into the history books of where the LGBTQ plus community started, how could we ever overlook the patriarchs, right? Arthur Johnston, who has been in our community, and his establishments have been sort of the bedrock of where this started in Chicago, is a big supporter. And of course, I got the Equality Illinois endorsement alone, and have the LGBTQ community is my community. It's part of the fabric of who I am. It is the most spirited community and has always been. I've learned how to fight in the streets with them when we were fighting for the non-discrimination laws, when we had people protesting the Methodist Church on Broadway. There have been moments, right? And I'm sure that you experience them too. And, I just have great relationships and continue to work with the peripherals, like the AIDS Foundation and Aldermans Knutson and Lawson. All of the LGBT local folks are very supportive, and I have very close relationships with them.
What do you see are the most urgent next steps for the community regarding the federal rollbacks of LGBTQ rights nationwide? What can we do locally?
I think first and foremost, we've got to protect our trans community.
Yes.
They are in my mind, the most vulnerable. We have been very, very proactive in Springfield in making sure that they have the ability to do name changes on passports and identification. just a whole host of things that we've done for them. We also have to really protect trans youth. And that is something I'm very concerned with when it comes to some of the limitations that have been put upon our healthcare partners who were very much at the table helping families during this transition. We continue to work on this. It's unfortunate, but we have to fight back. That's the only way. We have to fight back. And I am beginning to see the fissures. I'm beginning to see, and I am always going to be hopeful that America is going to turn this around and say enough. Aren't you waiting for that?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes.
What are your specific glimmers of hope that you've seen recently?
I think that there are, I am knocking on doors every day talking to people. And instead of just telling them what I've done, I ask them how they're doing. Because the general population is, 9 out of 10 times I hear about their fear of what the federal government is doing, whether it's completely disregarding the Constitution, no rule of law, parents of trans kids, you name it, fear. And we have to respond to that as elected officials. We have to tell people that here's the good news. We live in Illinois. We have a governor who is fighting like hell. Our attorney general, as I said earlier, is fighting like hell. I'm fighting like hell. And your leaders and elected officials are doing their best and are protecting you. I am starting to see fissures in the Republican Party, just like you are, where, a lot of women are abandoning because of some of the healthcare decisions. You've got MAHA, you've got conservative congressional members leaving because of what is happening around the Epstein situation.
Yes, right. Yes.
So I'm beginning to see a fissure, and I'm hoping that the midterm elections deliver for us back to a majority in Congress. And that's my job, guys. I have to be hopeful, and I have to fight.
I agree. I'm hopeful too. We had a dinner party the other night at our house, and we had several of our friends are activists. I won't mention their names, but they were with us, and a discussion came up. One of them just came home from Mexico, and she deleted things off of her phone, Signal app, and some other things because she was worried that she could be detained, and I was kind of fighting back, saying, I know that this is happening. I'm not ignorant to that, but as white privileged people here in I don't have that fear. But do you think that fear is founded, that it could get to that point in this country where Americans are worried that if they dissent, people that are on a radio station like WCPT are going to be in any kind of danger? Do you think it's at that point, or could be? Or am I being naive to think I don't think it'll get there?
I can't predict that. I wish I could. One of the things that makes me, I like to figure out how, from my lane, I can fight. Okay? I'm not clairvoyant. I know you think I'm superpowers.
Well, we do think you do have superpowers, yes.
But, my job is never to be complacent.
Yes.
Sure that we have protections against all of these discriminatory policies and throw as many obstacles like these lawsuits in the path of this discriminatory activity that we're seeing, whether it be with our guests that are here, everything you see going on with ICE. I think what we saw in Minnesota was very much a turning point, don't you?
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And, but when I talk about my lane, I have to continue making sure that the community I represent is safe and has services, because, equality as we have lived it in our lifetime it includes physical safety. It includes economic security. It includes making sure that everything that Donald Trump is eliminating from healthcare budgets, my job is to think ahead about what is Howard Brown Health Center going to need? What is the Center on Halsted going to need? What is the AIDS Foundation going to need? And whether we do it publicly or whether we do it privately and quietly, we are doing it. And that's all I can really say.
Yeah, that's why we have confidence in you, because you do it. You show up, as I said before. Speaking of showing up, you live in Lakeview, we live in Lakeview. On a lighter note, what are some of the things that make Lakeview so special for you?
Well, I know we have we have a very diverse district, but you and I are both, all three of us, I think, are big Cub fans, right?
Yes, we are. Yes.
So, I mean, this is part of a childhood addiction for me.
Same.
Sort of growing up on the knee of my father watching Cub games.
Mm-hmm.
And then, coming to Lakeview with my mom when she was seeing patients. Her office was 1 block away from Wrigley Field. Mm-hmm. So, our community is a destination community. We have great restaurants. We have the zoo. The lakefront is a magnet for visitors and the people who live here. I think that our alderman has done a great job. I think Tom Tunney left a great legacy. And now that Bennett Lawson is the alderman, we are seeing serious efforts for more affordability, trying to figure out how to keep people who raise their families in this community here so that they don't get priced out. And a lot of development going on. And we're hoping to see a lot more cranes in the sky and housing being built, because I think one of the challenges of affordability is most definitely going to be, if you build more, it's not the only solution. There are other ones, as you'll see as the governor rolls out his housing package, but definitely more building and more affordable building in the community. We're in the bubble in Lakeview.
Yeah.
Illinois is sort of like a beacon of hope for women coming from states where abortion care and reproductive care is unavailable to them. And we have really locked down as much as every bad law we had on the books has been removed. We are a very welcoming state. And we understand how important it is to protect people who come here for those services, but Lakeview particularly is a destination location and beloved by many. What's your favorite place here?
Well, Wrigley Field. I mean, bar none is number one, besides my home that I love living in. But yeah, the proximity we live to Wrigley, having the Halsted Street, a gay destination from people all over the country and all over the world come to Chicago, and they want a safe haven. They want a place where they can be their authentic selves. And we had a guest on earlier, Wesley Taylor. He's appearing in Holiday at the Goodman, and he had been at Sidetrack when he was 23, and he was back with Nathan Lane. He told the story, and he was back there a couple weeks ago. And this is the kind of history that we have. LGBTQ history in this neighborhood is deep, and it gives me a lot of pride to be a part of this community. I'm going to let you go, but right before I do, I want to ask you, how can people get involved, Sarah, in your campaign to help you get reelected?
The one thing I want to add is our community is unbelievable. We're like one big family.
Yep. Yes, we are.
And when things are crazy, like they are right now, family really matters and neighbors really matter. I could not be prouder of this community, Ellen, when I saw all of the parents and our neighbors helping schools, the walking buses, and falling all over each other to help our schools and our guests that are here. So, I mean, that's definitely the number one thing is community and neighbors are so important at this time. If people want to help out on the campaign, we've got door knocking. We're making phone calls. We're having a blast. Next week, we're having a day of action on Saturday. On Sunday, we're honoring Women's History Month by, a bunch. We're going to be advertising this. Stay tuned. But you can reach us at campaign@sarahfeigenholtz.com. Do you want me to spell that?
Maybe you should.
Yes, Sarah, FEIGENHOLTZ.com.
Beautiful. Well, we appreciate you in many, many ways, innumerable ways. Thank you for coming on with us, taking time to be with us today. Best of luck in the March 17th primaries. And opening day is just around the corner.
I know. I'm counting the days.
Me too. Thank you, Senator Sarah. We appreciate it. Have a great rest of the day and good luck in March.
You too. Thanks for having me on.
Our pleasure.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. That was, she's a force of nature for sure, Sarah Feigenholtz. We are going to take a break, and when we get back, it's the final thrilling, show-stopping moments of Out Chicago here on WCPT, where facts matter.
I'm proud to be Out Chicago, and you should be proud to be listening to Out Chicago on Chicago's Progressive Talk.
And yes, we are. Stephanie Miller, Ellen Miller here, Kathy Voltmer at my side. Our final segment here, filling in for Scott, who's on vacation. He's coming back from Mexico, and Kathy and I are leaving for Mexico tomorrow morning. So it's kind of a Mexican relay.
Exactly.
Hand the baton off. We did want to mention, a couple weeks ago, we had playwright Paul Michael Thompson and director Ayana Bria Bakari of Pod Girls on, and we saw it on Monday night. And what really got our attention was how seldom we see lesbian relationships and intimacy portrayed as central characters on stage. It gave us a lot to think about.
You often see the lesbian couple as kind of like the best friends or just kind of salacious, like on TV and Hunting Wives or wherever. But it was fun to see like a real grounded in reality kind of lesbian relationship where you could tell the women really dug each other.
Yeah, and there was, as we said, there was intimacy you generally don't see on stage, with two women, and it was really great to see the representation.
It was great. The reader called it a funny, smart, timely exploration of feminism, race, and class. We agreed. Presented by Story Theater. It runs through Sunday, March 1st.
So go check it out. It's at the Raven Theater.
Right.
We wanted to wrap on the Olympics a little bit. Well, you know what? We have a caller. He's called. Well, that was Scott. Okay. Well, he's talking about something else. So we're going to get to him maybe if we have a second. But Kathy, what was your favorite moment of the Olympics?
Oh, I think it totally. God, there have been so many of them. That's been the beauty of it. But Alyssa Liu, I think, has to be in her gold medal skate.
Yeah.
And her whole backstory, just remarkable, with her dad leaving China as a political refugee, and then her, skating and getting burned out, and the fact that the Chinese were, targeting her and spying on her and her family. And then finally, after a couple of years out of skating, she decided she wanted to go back, but on her terms.
Yep.
And oh my God, what a great story. And then she wins the first women's individual gold in 24 years.
Fantastic. And I believe she identifies as queer.
Yeah, I think she has. Who's the other skater who's gay?
Amber.
Amber Glenn.
Mm-hmm.
Amber Glenn. So again, it's been kind of a gay Olympics and very fun to watch. I'm sad that the closing ceremonies are tonight.
I always watch the closing ceremonies and wish I had watched more because it doesn't, it only comes around every few years, as we know. But, like we talked about earlier, the U.S. hockey teams, both women and men, winning gold.
Right.
Huge highlight. The skaters, both of them, I felt bad for the the quad guy, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You know, there's going to be highs, there's going to be lows. That's what it's all about. There's no guarantees.
I think about just watching the Olympics as a kid, and this is long before most of our listeners were watching, but Dorothy Hamill was a really famous skater when I was growing up. So she won the gold at the Winter
Did you
Olympics
cut her
in
hair like hers?
I was just going to say.
I didn't even know, and I guessed.
I had the Dorothy Hamill cut. She was really somebody to look up to at the time, and I think about all the little girls who are looking up to these skaters, these women's hockey players, these athletes, and it makes me feel like the future's in better hands than we think. I just feel like some of these women, like just watching the optimism and the positivity of some of these athletes, it's so inspiring.
It truly is, and in these days when we're not feeling as patriotic as we like, this gives us much hope. It really does. You know, I can't believe it, but we are at the end of our show, Kathy Voltmer.
This was so fun. Take more vacations, Scott, so I can do this more, please.
Kathy's kind of a natural, as you guessed, because she's spent her whole life doing radio.
Just 30 years.
Just 30 years. I want to thank our guest, Wesley Taylor, now appearing at Goodman Theater's Holiday, Kat McDonald of Second City's 114th Main Stage production beginning in May, and State Senator Sarah Feigenholtz running for re-election in Chicago's 6th District. Thanks to our board op, Matt, who did a fantastic job.
Great job, Matt.
Paul, I'm going to be nice to you today. You were great, both in studio.
I don't get that. Why are you guys so
talk
mean
to Scott
him?
about that. And on the phone screening, I appreciate it. Of course, my co-hostess with the mostest, Kathy Voltmer.
Love you, honey.
Scott is back next week. And until then, everybody, stay proud.